It's time to stop that facade of everybody's okay, everything's okay. Collectively, we're experiencing a huge degree of burnout across workplaces. People are exhausted. I'd like to talk a bit about how we spot burnout in our teams. Most humans have been through a lot in the last few years, not just the COVID pandemic, but when we start to look at the pressure around social change, when we start to look at climate, when we start to look at cost of living, when we start to look at the loss and the change that people have experienced. It is a lot, but I don't think that it is okay to just say it's a lot. The stress that people are experiencing is caused directly by the workplaces they find them in. It is a local issue as well as it is a collective global issue. Burnout's a really local thing. You know, you are much more likely to be affected by burnout if you don't have good relationships with the people that you work with on a daily basis, if you don't feel that you are contributing, achieving good enough in the role that you are fulfilling, and if you don't feel safe in the environment that you work in. All humans have 3 basic needs, and these needs play out in the workplace on a daily basis. They are safety, socialisation, and significance. When you pay attention to these needs, it becomes easier to spot when people are struggling or when they might be suffering from burnout, and B, it becomes much easier to do something about it. So let's look at safety. We're talking here about both physical safety, you know, the environment that people are in, and we're talking about psychological safety, the fact that people can show up as themselves, they can admit mistakes, they can ask for help, all that sort of stuff. Socialisation is about belonging, isn't it? It's about being able to feel that you can chat with your colleagues, to feel that you are able to talk about what you want to talk about without being judged, without feeling on the outer, if you like. And significance is that the work that you do, the contribution that you make is valued and of a good enough level. So with those 3 things in mind, I'm going to talk about some of the things that you as a leader need to do to help people to feel good at work. Culture at work is determined by the way that we behave. If you like, it's the how we roll, it's the how we do things around here. And most of the behaviours that we engage in at work, we get from modelling what's going on around us. You know, from really early ages, we learn how to be by modelling what we see other people doing. When we're learning a new skill, you know, we watch, we learn, we try it out, we model what's going on around us. So in terms of workplace well-being, in terms of people at work, this comes from 2 places. It comes from what your immediate peers do. They're probably the biggest influence on you, but it also comes from the tone that your line manager or leader sets. So your responsibility here is to model the behaviour that you want to see. And that does mean that you have to be able to demonstrate that you are looking after your own well-being. It doesn't mean that you tell people to take their break, to go home on time, and then you work all the hours that God sends, or you skip breaks, or you being very bantery about the fact that you've managed to go all day without going to the loo, whatever that is in your environment. You model the behaviour that you want to see other people following. At the beginning of this video, I talked about collective burnout. I think where collective burnout does become really important to you as a leader is when it's happening in your team. We talked about modelling behaviour. When you start to see people disconnecting or start to see symptoms of burnout, it's really contagious. You have 2 responsibilities. First, to stop it getting worse, and second, to help people on the road to recovery. I think there are 3 elements to recovery: reflecting what's going on, reconnecting with each other and the job that you were there to do, and recommitting to the action that you collectively want to take. It's really easy to get caught up in busy and just keep moving and moving and moving. That space and time to reflect on what has happened, what is happening, and how that is affecting you as a group is super important. You don't have to over-formalise it. You might choose to, but you don't need to. It's that, if you like, data gathering, that having conversations, it's giving people time and space to understand where they're at and to process what they're experiencing. Reconnecting is the most important part of this. First of all, we're helping people to reconnect with why they do what they do, so the significance part of human needs. And secondly, it's about helping them to reconnect with each other, that socialisation piece. That reconnection piece allows people to get to what is it we're here for, what is it that we want to do, and then how can we start to do that in a way that is safe, empowering, and enables us to be who we are as human beings and do what we're here to do. Finally, you get to recommit. And this is the bit where you're really trying to gain both buy-in and obviously commitment to take action, to behave differently, to work differently. And the power of the collective here is enormous and enables them to say, these are the parameters in which we operate. These are the things that I personally can do. This is what I'm responsible for. This means that people can get refocused. They can start to identify what their wins are, and they can start to move forwards together in a safer, more connected way. Tempting as it can be as a leader, you can't take all of this onto your own shoulders. Your job here is super simple. Your job is to make space for this to happen. Your job is to pay attention to what people are saying and what's going on, and your job is to keep quiet and let them come out with some of their own solutions. If you don't feel that you have the capacity or the mental space yourself to do this work, then share the load. Let people get involved with the facilitating, the leading. The outcome's the important thing, not the fact that you lead it.